Don't quote none!
What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? It is your favorite North Carolinian, Russ, the Tar Heel. And in this huddle, we're going to talk about Game 9, Tar Heels and the Cardinal in Kenan Stadium, 4:30 this Saturday on the CW Network, man. And I don't know about you guys, dude, but coming off of a win, your boys walked around here with my chest out just a little bit more, man. You know, a little more bravado, if you will. But yeah, no, because I do that every day when I'm wearing my Carolina gear anyway, dude. Win, lose, or stink and draw. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. Anyway, man, before we get started, dude, huge shout out to my daggum Huddle hooligans, man. Thank you guys for all the love, the support, the loyalty, everything that you guys think and do on a monthly basis, man. I appreciate you guys helping me keep these daggum these lights on, dude. I really couldn't do it without you, man. $600 score prediction and call-in show will be this Thursday at 8 p.m. All you have to do to win the $600 is, 1, you got to be subscribed to the daggum channel. 2, you got to call into the show. And 3, you're going to have to give me your daggum score prediction, man. If you guess the correct score, I'm going to send you $600 cash. Dude, all you got to do is think and be a subscriber and call into the show. We'll go for about an hour, so make sure you come early to get your call in. Sounds like a no-brainer to me, dude. You literally don't have to do anything but pick the correct score. That's difficult enough, I guess, man. Watch party this Saturday at 4:30 as Carolina takes on Stanford. Like I said on the CW Network, man, come hang out with your boy as we see if Carolina can make it back to back, baby. And without further ado, man, we won't draw this thing out anymore, dude. Let's go ahead and get into this party by taking a look at the updated ACC rankings. And man, is this a chaotic Atlantic Coast Conference, bro. Virginia, of all people, is in first place at 5-0. Georgia Tech falls to that team over there in Wake County. They're 5-1 after losing to the Wolfsack, dude. Pitt, shout out to Hutch, is also 5-1. Louisville, SMU, and Puke are 4-1. Miami's 2-2. Virginia Tech and the WRAL, Wolfsack, Wake Forest, and Cal are 2-3. Clemson and Stanford are 2-4. Carolina comes in at 1-3. FSU's 1-4. Syracuse is 1-5. And Boston College still can't get their together. They are 0-5 in the conference. Upcoming week in the Atlantic Coast Conference for football: SMU at Boston College, Syracuse at Miami, Duke at UConn, Stanford at Carolina, Wake Forest at Virginia, California at Louisville, and Florida State at Clemson. All right, let's go ahead and get into this thing, okay? North Carolina is coming off their first conference win by beating the listless, quarterbackless, if you will, Syracuse Orange 27-10 by another stellar performance by that Tar Heel defense, man. I think they allowed like under 150 yards of total stinking offense. Stanford dropped the home tilt to the surging Pitt Panthers at home, 35-20, and that game really wasn't as close as the final score indicated. Now, this will be the 4th meeting all time between Carolina and Stanford, with the Cardinal holding a slight 2-1 advantage at this point. The Heels did win their first ever meeting back in 1997 before dropping the last 2 by a combined 5 points, man. So these have been very tightly contested football games. The last meeting was a 25-23 point loss in the 2016 Sun Bowl in Mitch Trubisky's last game as a Tar Heel. Now, the Cardinal are led by interim head coach Frank Reich, who was put in place by new GM Andrew Luck, who was absolutely phenomenal as a player at Stanford, and he looks to get Stanford back to a respectable program, which they haven't necessarily done to this point under his tutelage. Their leading passer is a 6'3", 220-pound senior quarterback, Ben Goldbranson from Newberry Park, California. The kid's thrown for 1,813 yards, 9 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, and it's not necessarily been stellar, to say the least. 6'2", 220-pound running back Micah Ford from Toms River, New Jersey, leads the Cardinal in rushing with 425 yards on 99 carries, averaging 4.3 yards per carry and 3 touchdowns. And the Cardinals' leading receiver is the 6'1", 205-pound senior wide receiver C.J. Williams from Mission Viejo, California, who has 47 receptions for 598 yards and 4 touchdowns with a long of 36. The Heels are led by legendary NFL head coach Bill Belichick, who was in his first year at the University of North Carolina. And their leading passer is a 6', 203-pound sophomore quarterback, Gio Lopez from Madison, Alabama. He's thrown for 1,021 yards, 6 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, and he had his best statistical game of the season last week against the Qs, almost accumulating 250 yards of total offense, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. We'll see if he can build upon that. Carolina's leading rusher is the 5'11", 215-pound freshman running back Damon June from Jacksonville, North Carolina. He's got 416 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. He also took a screen pass to the house from about 70 yards out last week. Kid just scores touchdowns, bro. He's averaging 6.5 yards per carry on the year, which is pretty damn good for a freshman back. And the Heels' leading receiver is a 6'2", 190-pound sophomore wide receiver Jordan Shipp from Charlotte, North Carolina. He's got 384 yards receiving on 35 receptions and 3 touchdowns on the season. Now, let's take a look at the team statistics now that we've taken a look at the individual statistics, man. And we can see that Stanford is ranked 123rd in the nation, averaging 307.1 yards per game, and 125th in the country in scoring at only 17.8 points per game. If you thought it couldn't get worse than Carolina, once again, the Stanford Cardinals say hello. The Stanford defense is giving up 424.9 yards per game, good for 117th, and giving up 30.1 points per game, good for 106. So this is not a good football team in any way, shape, or form. It's needless to stinking say. Now, North Carolina is ranked 126th in the nation at 298.1 yards per game and 119th in the country at 19.4 points per game. Not necessarily an improvement, if any, when we're looking statistically, but North Carolina is now only allowing 321.4 yards per game, which is good for 30th in the country, and they are giving up 22.1 points per game, which is good for 50th. Carolina still has the 25th ranked rush defense in the country, so that's saying something. Top 25 rush defense for the Heels. So now that we've taken a look at the individual and team statistics, man, let's get into Russ's 3 keys to victory, starting with the visiting Stanford Cardinal. And key number 1 is this, man. They've got to protect the football. Cole Branson has thrown an interception at each of his last 4 games, to include 3 of them against the Panthers at home, man. When you are averaging less than 20 points per game, the last thing you can afford is to give up on the opportunities that you do have, or give an equally struggling offense like Carolina's a short field. Stanford has got to protect the football. Key number 2, get your tight ends involved in this game. Stanford had some success against Pitt utilizing their tight ends, especially the 6'5", 260-pound senior Sam Roush, who has over 400 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns on the season. Last week against Pitt, 8 catches for 104 yards against the Panthers. So they have got to account for him in the pass game. And key number 3, discipline in their run fits. The Cardinals need to make sure that they stay in their rush lanes when rushing Gio Lopez. Though he's not a stinking burner by any stretch of the imagination, Gio has done a much better job in the last 2 games of sliding away from rushes and even utilizing his feet to do some damage on the ground and extend some plays. Make Gio complete passes through the air and limit his ability to move around in the pocket by staying disciplined in your rush lanes. And now, for the Heels, key number 1. It's got to be like June and November, bro. When Coach Belichick was asked in the post-game interview last week about how good Juju was, he kind of tried to downplay it a little bit, man. This is what I'll say about that. The kid touches the football, and the kid makes freaking plays. I don't care if he's not the biggest. I don't care if he's not the fastest. I don't even care if he's not the strongest. He is clearly a football player, and football players make plays. Get that kid the stinking rock, bro. He went for over 180 yards of total offense against the Qs, and it is time that we make him a focal point weekly in this offense. Key number 2, gotta pressure Goldbranson. Melkart and Thompson have been menaces off of the edge lately, and the front 7 has been really good against the run for all intents and purposes. This may be one of those games where Carolina can continue to pressure their quarterback and generate a couple of short fields for our offense by getting some turnovers. He can make some silly reads, man. Get pressure on him. It's a great opportunity to maybe even assist this offense in getting 30-plus points, man. Who knows? And that is a ton for Carolina in 2025. And key number 3, man, just continue to build. Belichick has stated over and over, man, that he is building this program with the mentality of having incremental positive improvements day by day. It's not the overnight success that I was anticipating, but we all see the stinking growth, man, and it is night and day in certain phases from what we saw in the first few games of the season. Build off of the momentum that you generated last week, okay? And stay together as a family. Bowling is still a possibility, and it starts this Saturday. So now that we've taken a look at the keys to victory, man, it is time for the prediction portion of the show. And we'll take a quick look at the leaderboard, and we see that Hutch is still in the lead, man. It's 7-1. I moved to 6-2 on the season along with the fan poll, and the sim goes to 6-2 as well. And as always, we're going to kick this thing off with our favorite Yinzer and honorary Tar Heel, Hutch. Kick that thing off, Hutch.
What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? It is your favorite Yinzer, Hutch, back with a Week 9 Fearless prediction. Your boy moved to 7-1 on the season by correctly predicting that your North Carolina Tar Heels would defeat the Syracuse Orangemen in the JMA Dome on Halloween night. Your Carolina Tar Heels return to Kenan Stadium for a little football on a forest this Saturday when they take on the Stanford Cardinal. Stanford is fresh off a 35-20 loss to my Pitt Panthers in a game that was not that close. Pitt played its worst game of the year, at least its sloppiest game of the year on offense, with 4 turnovers, 2 in the red zone. Heisel threw a pick in the end zone in the red zone and fumbled in the red zone, and they easily could have put up 50 points, should have put up 50 points. Stanford scored in garbage time against the backups and then had what should have been a Pitt interception tipped into the air, could have been a pick 6, that tipped. Stanford ends up picking it out of the air and scoring a touchdown on it. Make no mistake, Stanford is not a good team. This is not a good offense. Ben Goldbranson is a quarterback, 56% completion percentage. He's got 9 touchdowns to 10 picks. He threw 3 against Pitt, including a pick 6, which essentially ended the competitive nature or the competitive phase of the game. It was over at that point. That being said, this bodes very well for Carolina. This is going to be a very similar game to the one they just played against Syracuse, with really poor quarterback play, kind of a struggling to inept offense, and a defense that is not real good, but it's fighting, it's playing hard, it's just getting hung out by its inept offense. So if the Heels can continue to do what the Heels have done, which is play sound defense and not make mistakes on offense, no turnovers, just be efficient, they're going to win this game. Stanford's really not a solid team. They're making a cross-country road trip. They're coming off a loss. I think this plays into the Heels' hands. I think that the Heels can get their second straight ACC win at home over Stanford, and I predict that they'll do just that. I think the Heels are going to win this game 27-13. I think the defense shows up. They've been doing a really good job of getting to the quarterback. Stanford does not have good quarterback play to begin with, so pressure can hopefully lead to some Heels turnovers, and at that point, if they protect the football, if they can run the ball efficiently, which I think they can against Stanford, it bodes well for them with a win, getting one more win closer to bowl eligibility. So I'm picking the Heels 27, Stanford 13. Second win in a row for the Heels and gets them one more win closer to bowl eligible before they go into the final three against the state rivals in Wake, Duke, and then State at the end. So that's my pick. I'm sticking to it, and hopefully your boy will be 8-1 after week 9.
All right, there it is, baby. My boy Hutch is picking the Heels to defend Kenan Stadium against this struggling Stanford team coming across the country and taking this one 27-13, man. And I can dig it. I can stick and dig it. Now, before I give you guys my 2 cents on this football game, the ESPN matchup indicator gives the Heels a 62.9% chance at beating the Cardinal, and they are currently 7.5-point favorites at home at the time of this video. Even the fan poll thinks this one strongly leans Carolina's way. So here's how this thing plays out. Stanford is bad, okay? There's no way to sugarcoat this thing. It's not a good football team in any phase, and they are traveling across the country to play a Carolina team that is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but they are 100% trending in an upward direction. Slowly, but ever so surely, dude. I think Stanford's quarterback is extremely limited. Maybe not as bad as what we saw Syracuse last week, but it's about as bad as you're going to see from a starting quarterback at the P4 level. And with the way that Carolina's defense has played lately, I think they're going to continue to play well in front of that home crowd and give this team an opportunity to win games from here on out, especially against this Stanford offense, man. Carolina dropped 2 straight that they should have won. They go on the road. They play the best half of football that they played the entire season to finish that Syracuse game. And I think it continues against the Cardinal, that defensive prowess, if you will, man. I'm going to take the Tar Heels to surprisingly score 30 in this stinking football game at the house. And I'm going to give the Stanford Cardinal, dude, only 13. I think the defense is playing that well. 30-13, Carolina to get their second ACC win of the season. Back-to-back stinking wins against P4 opponents. Not that good, by the way, but we'll stinking take it. And, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this stinking game. I think it is definitely a beatable opponent. So, you let me know what you think about my score prediction in this football game down in the comment section, Tar Heel Nation. If you haven't already, do me a favor, man. Like, share, and subscribe to the daggum channel. Don't forget, watch party this Saturday. Call-in show this Thursday. Call in and win that stinking $600, man. And we'll have a good time leading up to it, bro. It is a great day to be a stinking Tar Heel. I love you, Tar Heel Nation. And we'll catch you on the next one, baby. Go Heels.